Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so thankful that you decided to click on this video and spend a little bit of time with me today. I do want to mention that I am filming on a new phone, and so I'm trying out some different settings over the next few videos to try to kind of see what I prefer when filming on this phone, and so things might look a little different over the next few videos, so just wanted to let you know. So today I'm going to be doing a crochet and chat, so grab a project and crochet with me, and the topic I want to talk about today is why I don't really sell my crochet anymore. So I started crocheting I think about 12 years ago. My oldest son is 12 years old and I started when I was pregnant with him, so around 12 years. And when I first started crocheting, I really enjoyed selling my projects. It just was so exciting to be able to make something and sell it, but that is not really the case anymore, and I'm going to explain why. So the project that I'm going to be working on while we're talking today is this cardigan, and this is by Megan Makes Do. She has a pattern you can buy as well as a free tutorial on YouTube, so I will link those in the description. But here is what that is looking like so far, and if you hear a cough, my 6-year-old is sitting on the bed behind me and he's been a little bit sick, so you may hear that. But anyway, this pattern is really fun. It's the block stitch. I am using a yarn that I am using for my temperature blanket, and right now I can't think of the name of it and I don't have the label, but I will look it up. I think it's called Emerald Pines. I love this yarn from Hobby Lobby, but I will link that in the description as well, just to make sure that I am telling you the right color. But I love the block stitch. I'm also using the Heartland Grand Canyon. Let me double check that. I think it's the Grand Canyon yarn. If I can find one with a label. Yes, Heartland Grand Canyon. I'm using that for the rows in between the block stitches. And so I'm really loving the way the color is playing out on that. The one thing is on this pattern, you have to cut your yarn at the end of every row. So there's going to be a lot of yarn ends to weave in. But I'm really enjoying this. I'll have a video coming out pretty soon where I share all of the cardigans that I have started right now and all the sweaters, and it's a lot. So stay tuned for that, but this is my newest one. Okay, so let's get chatting. There are a few reasons that I don't enjoy selling my crochet items anymore. Now don't get me wrong, of course, it's still always fun to make money selling something that you make. So it's not the selling part that I don't enjoy. It's a couple other things. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the pressure that it puts on you. So for me, I've realized that crochet it's my hobby. It's what I like to do for fun. And so whenever I put too much pressure on myself to make certain projects or to get things done, it takes that fun out of it, at least some of the fun anyway. I've realized that I'm the type of person that I get bored with things easily. I get bored with projects easily. And so let's just say that a few years ago, I decided that I was going to make and sell crochet pumpkins. Well, I had a great time with the first couple pumpkins, and then the next 10 that I made, I had to just trudge through and force myself to do. And what that did was, for one, take away from projects that I really wanted to do, because I felt the pressure of getting these done, as well as it kind of put me in a crochet slump. So just kind of that mood where I'm like, I'm forcing myself to do something that is really not fun for me right now. And so because of that, it had just negative effects on me wanting to crochet in general. Also, I just pulled out a huge amount of yarn barf out of the middle of that yarn, so didn't mean to do that. So yeah, I think the main reason is just the pressure that it puts on me and the effects that that has. Because of course, when you're making something for somebody else, you don't want them to have to wait a long period of time, especially if they are paying you for it. So that is really the major reason that I don't sell my crochet often anymore. I do make exceptions, and I do still make gifts for people for Christmas and things like that, for family members' birthdays, but it is mostly family. Also, there has been times where people have asked me to make them something that's not in my family, and I just don't charge them for it usually. There is occasions where I will, depending on how difficult the pattern is, but a lot of the times when people ask me to make them something and I choose that I am going to do that for them, a lot of times I just don't charge them. And honestly, it just kind of takes a little bit of the pressure off of me, because I don't feel as much of that need to like get it done super quickly. So if I pick up another project while I'm in the middle of making something else for somebody, and work on that for a little bit, I don't feel as guilty. And usually when I'm making something for somebody, I will ask them, you know, do you need it by any certain time? And most of the time it's for themselves and they say no, and I say, you know, I do have some other things I'm working on, so it may be a little, you know, a couple weeks or something, but I will get it done for you. And that kind of alleviates a lot of that pressure as well. So I've started to do that. Another thing I wanted to mention is I'm extremely picky now on the things that I will commit to making for people. And this kind of goes along with that. For a long time, for a lot of years, if someone would ask me to make them something, I felt like I couldn't say no. I really struggled with that. And again, that added to the pressure. So I think just after doing it for several years and realizing, you know, how I am as a person, and realizing that this is something I want to do for fun and I don't want things to take away from that, I've just realized that it's okay to turn someone down. Of course, there's still that little bit of like, you know, I'm sorry that I can't, but you know, it's just the way that it has to be, honestly. And so if someone asks me to make them a blanket or a wearable, my answer is almost 100% of the time, I'm sorry, but I can't do that. And again, there are times when I've gifted these type of items, but that's whenever I'm able to plan ahead and start, you know, in advance, and have quite a while to finish that item. But I just could not stand that pressure, for one, of making a large item like that takes so long. But also I just tell the person, I'm like, honestly, I just don't sell those type of things because the amount that I would have to charge for that would be more than you would want to pay. And for most people, that is the case. There are people who will, obviously, pay for those type of things. But honestly, if I was going to make a cardigan for somebody, even if it was a size extra small or small cardigan, and especially up through those bigger sizes, that takes an extreme amount of time and usually a very large amount of yarn. And so I would have to charge so much for that. And again, I feel like, you know, it takes me sometimes months to finish a wearable project because I'm also working on other things, but also because it takes a long time. And so, you know, it's just something I've chosen not to make for people. So I will tell people I don't mind to make, you know, stuffed animals or things like that, beanies, keychains, washcloths, those type of things that I know I can get done in a couple hours. I have no problem making those items for people, but I don't openly advertise that I sell my crochet items anymore. I used to make Facebook posts, like, you know, promoting myself, and I just don't do that. If someone asks me, you know, then I'll make the decision then. And again, like I said, I usually don't even charge them, because that's just what I prefer doing. And also having a YouTube channel, I'm able to show the item on YouTube, and I do make a small amount on my YouTube videos. So I feel like, you know, I'm gonna be making a little bit of money off what I've crocheted, so just by showing it. And so I just feel like for most people, I'd like to gift items to them. So I'd be interested to know, do you sell your crochet items? If you don't, do you feel kind of similar to the way that I feel? I also did want to briefly touch on like markets. So I know a lot of people crochet things for markets, and I would honestly love to do that. That would be like the one. But of course, for markets, you're not usually going to sell large ticketed or large items like blankets, wearables, things like that. You're going to be making things that you can make quickly so you can make the most profit. But you normally have to crochet the same things over and over and over again to have multiples of them. So like if you're selling crochet plushies, you want to have a few of the same plushies, things like that. And so that's the part that I really struggle with. Again, it comes back to, I have realized that for me, crochet is like my me time. It is an anxiety relief for me, and it's a way that I can express creativity. And so to have the pressure of I have to do this, and I have to do this, and I have to do this, and I have to do it over and over again, that is gonna make me not want to crochet. So I feel like markets, making things for people, it kind of goes along those same lines. I just don't want the pressure. I usually end up charging way less than something is worth, because I feel bad to charge what something is actually worth. So again, I just end up gifting, and then also making the same thing over and over and over again. For all those reasons, I just choose not to sell most of the time, or not to do markets. Now, I'm not saying I'll never do a market. I had planned to do one this summer, it just didn't work out. But I would need like a long time to prepare because again, the freedom of being able to hop from project to project, while sometimes that does stress me out having 1,000 different whips, it is something that I love about crochet. I'm able to pick up this cardigan if I'm in the mood for this. I'm able to pick up a different cardigan that I've started and work on that, or I'm able to start an amigurumi and get that done in a couple hours in between, or work on my temperature blanket that I haven't worked on in months. But part of that freedom to choose what I want to work on each day is part of what makes it fun for me. So for all those reasons, that's why I usually don't sell my crochet items or advertise that I sell crochet items. So I have thought about opening an Etsy shop, and you know, like a lot of these items that I make just to try out the pattern, and then don't really have anyone to gift them to, or just don't need them on my shelf. I've thought about opening an Etsy shop, just putting random things on there, but not really posting that I do custom orders, but we'll see. So again, leave me a comment. Let me know how you feel about selling items. Again, I think it's really fun to sell items. It's just not in line with why I crochet these days. So the verse I want to read to you today is out of Hebrews. I've talked about this several times lately, but Hebrews is one of my favorite books of the Bible for many different reasons. But the verse that I want to read to you today is out of Hebrews 12, and it is verse 11. And I want to give you a little bit of context. So chapter 12 talks about, in this particular section, starting in verse 3, the heading is "Do not grow weary." So it talks about discipline from the Lord and how that is not a bad thing, that discipline is a good thing, and it talks about how earthly fathers discipline their children for a short time, so why wouldn't our Heavenly Father discipline us if it's what's best for us? And so in verse 11 it says, for the moment, all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant, but later it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. Obviously, nobody enjoys discipline. It's not something that is fun for us, as this verse says, it is painful, but it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness. So we have to be trained to know and understand when things are not what is best for us or best for others or honoring to God. We have to trust that God knows what's best for us. He created us. And when we do things that are against His will, that will cause not only our relationship with Him to suffer, but our relationship with others, our relationship with ourselves, then we need to be trained in some way. And most of the time, the way that we learn lessons is through pain. That's just the truth. Of course, there are times we learn in other ways, but pain is often how we learn. So when we go through things that really, when we do something that we know is not right, and then there are consequences to that, that is discipline. That is us. A lot of times that's God saying, hey, like, you're feeling like this right now because you chose to do something that is not the best for you to do. And that conviction that comes, it's not like, I feel like often it is not God saying like, you know, I'm mad at you and here's this. It's, no, I love you and I created you, and I created you for a better purpose than what you are choosing to do right now. And it's through that pain and that the feeling of grief that we get when we do those wrong things, or act out of accordance of His will, that is going to steer us back into the right direction. That in turn is going to bring us peace and joy and hope and trust in God. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that you enjoyed this little chat today. It's been a great week. I've been on fall break, and so I hope to get a couple of videos filmed this week. And again, I've told you that my goal is to be more consistent on this channel, whether it be posting shorter videos, longer videos, or shorts. I just want to be more consistent because this is something I want to invest my time in and enjoy doing, and I hope that you enjoy it too. So I pray that God blesses you, and I will see you super soon in the next one.